Hello everyone, welcome to GoTarryn TV. I'm Taryn the Traveling Trainer with GoTarryn Personal Training here in the greater Atlanta area. About to welcome not one, not two, but three incredible guests, three amazing ladies right here on GoTarryn TV momentarily. But first I'd like to ask you, if you please be so kind as to like this video, leave us a comment and share it with all of your friends and family out there. Now, as I said, momentarily when we come back, we're going to be seeing these three women come on to GoTarryn TV. They've all been on here before, and you are going to love them. We're in for a true treat. Going in alphabetical order by last name, we have Dedra Blakley of De-Stress 101. We have Hannah O'Leary, who is a stretch therapist. And we have Catherine Luciano of the Concourse Athletic Club with Wellbridge. So how cool is that? Three awesome ladies on today's show. You are in for a true treat. So when we come back, we're going to have Dedra, Hannah, and Kat right here on GoTarryn TV. And remember, with GoTarryn Personal Training, it's your time, it's your investment, it's your life. Welcome back, everyone, and as you can see, as we promised, side by side, we have two wonderful guests today, and as you can see, there they are on the other side of the screen. From left to right, we're seeing Hannah O'Leary all the way out in Bethlehem, Georgia, and then we're seeing Dedra Blakley all the way out in Bethlehem, Georgia. Is that right?
That's where I am, yes.
Wow, I understand. So before we were recording, both you ladies are pretty close down the street from each other.
Yeah, I'm surprised I haven't seen you in Target.
All right.
For all you know, you may have been in, I bet you have been in Target or same spot or a restaurant and just never really, probably thought anything of it because you never met in person.
Right.
Probably.
That's so cool. That is excellent. Well, thank you again, ladies, for being able to join us. And I may have another person who might pop in, and if we can get her on, we'll see. But I wanted to talk to you first, both of you ladies. And again, we'll go from left to right. So, Hannah, if you could just, since this is a group conference discussion forum, you both have been on here before. Hannah, if you could start, please tell the folks a little bit about yourself, if it's the first time they're seeing you, where you're from, and what you do, too.
Yeah, so I'm Hannah O'Leary. I am from Loganville, Georgia, right around the corner from Bethlehem. Grew up here, went to Georgia State University, got my degree in exercise science, wanted to pursue physical therapy, kind of went a different route, had kids, put that on the back burner, but found this amazing technique called stretch therapy. And I've been doing it about a year and a half now, and it's just a passive assisted stretching method that's on a table, and it's meant to help you be relaxed and pain-free and gain flexibility, better mobility overall, and just live a more free, less resisted lifestyle when it comes to movement and fitness and wellness. So that's a little bit about me and where I came from, what I'm doing.
And also, Hannah, we have to add in that you've come and guest spoken for me at Georgia State University, too, at my class. So very well spoken and gave some complimentary stretching therapy exercises, and to myself, too. So that's wonderful. And then, Dedra, you and I go way back. You're the very first guest that I ever interviewed back in 2013, some 6 years ago on here. So I guess I'll go and ask you the same question, where you're from and what you're doing and where your goals are headed, too, please.
Sure. Well, my name is Dedra Blakley. I am originally from Winder, so just across the highway from where I live now in Bethlehem. I have lived in a few different places, but I came back home about 6 years ago, I guess it was, when my mom passed away. And now I have a yoga studio. I've been teaching yoga for about, I've been teaching yoga for 6 years, and I've had my own place for going into its fourth year. And I just moved into a new studio. Yay. So I'm about 3 months into the new space. I love it. It's located in the Wimberley Center, which is actually where I went to middle school in Winder, about years ago. But yeah, I love it there. I have a group fitness certification, a certificate in yoga, breast cancer recovery exercise specialist certification, as well as a fitness nutrition certification. So I use all of that. I incorporate supplementation, and just what I've learned in my own physical therapy ailments and recoveries into my yoga classes. And the main thing I want people to do is relax. A lot of people come to me with sleep issues, anxiety problems, and I really just want to help them relax. And then the flexibility aspect is a bonus.
Yeah, Dedra, and I'm glad both of y'all are on the call too, because it was so great to be able to have you both join and meet since geographically you're so close. I think we have Catherine on right now too, by the way. She's going to be joining us.
Sorry.
Catherine, how are you doing?
Happening.
No, you're fine. You're okay.
How are you?
Good, thanks. I've got Hannah and Dedra up here right now. We're just going around as a panel discussion. Tell us, Catherine, we could record this as an audio, so it's perfect. We can hear you clearly. Tell us a little bit about yourself, please, and what you're doing out here, and just if this is the first time everybody's hearing you on the call, please.
Okay. So I am a personal trainer. I've been a trainer for the last 16 years, and in the last few years, I started getting into metabolic nutrition and Z Health, which is pretty much a brain-based approach to fitness. So I've really been kind of shifting gears into some higher education type of stuff to affect my clients and people as much as possible.
Yeah, and you ladies, too, have another thing in common, that not only are you the most, again, very accredited, brilliant ladies I've met and had the pleasure of working with. Again, that's why I kind of wanted to network this as a group panel discussion and kind of pick each other's brains and, kind of very informally go around and just talk about, some of the new things and trends. And like Kat just mentioned, the Z Health, and Kat's also come out and guest spoken at Georgia State as well. But, I'm so glad that you ladies get to meet here virtually, but also when we're done, if you can get each other's contact information as well, which we'll provide. So, Hannah, back to you for a second, please. Again, stretch therapy, that's important. What do you see in your clients as far as, people with flexibility issues or not being able to stretch? What's your thoughts on that, Hannah?
So I would say stretch therapy is beneficial for any type of person out there, whether you're extremely active and extremely mobile, or you're the complete opposite of that, whether you're ill and just not able to move, very immobile. It works for any population. And I guess with stretch therapy, just like Dedra was saying, the benefit and the purpose of it is to tap into relaxation and to get you into that parasympathetic nervous system to the point where there is no resistance. You are completely relaxed. There's no pain, and you're trusting that therapist to gain the most benefit from your session. So overall, anybody can benefit, and it's extremely beneficial, not just for the flexibility, but for the relaxation and for the mental and emotional benefit as well.
Yeah, very well said. I could agree that I think that everybody, including myself, that certainly needs it. And Dedra, I'm going to shift questions for you a little bit here because, we're in a new year. We're in a new, 2019. Everybody's got their New Year's resolutions. I'm sure you've heard that. And everyone's got good intentions, of course, the first beginning part of the year. Have you noticed or seen an influx of more people coming in to exercise and hit you up, whether they're emailing you or calling you saying, okay, I really mean it this time. I'm going to get in there. What's that been about?
Well, it's very interesting. Even before I moved into the new studio in November, which is typically the time of year when clients start to think less about themselves and more about parties and doing social things, I actually saw an influx of new customers in November, December, I was thrilled about that because that never happens. And so the clients that I have now are actually carryovers from the latter part of last year. But I've had an interesting amount of new people just tell me and take my information, I've been stalking your page for a year. I'm like, really? You could have been relaxing a year ago and you didn't come? What's wrong with you? So there's people out there, even when we think they aren't watching and paying attention, they are. So that's why social media is so important, in particular in this area, because there's not a lot of people out here like Hannah, like me. Yoga is kind of that thing that's done more so in the city. And I think there are some other yoga studios around this area, but I'm proud to say that I'm the only one in Winder, Georgia. And even some of my students that have gone to gym yoga say that by far what they learned from me and what they experience on their yoga mat has helped them more than anything else they've done.
Oh, yeah, but for sure. And then Kat, I wanted to ask you because, I started my career path some 20 years ago over at Concourse Athletic Club, so we know a lot of the same folks, as far as networking and things of that nature. But your background with personal training and Pilates and nutrition, same question that I asked Dedra just now. What's your thoughts on, the people that have those New Year's resolutions that come in?
I'm not sure that I gathered the whole gist of the question, because clearly it's about that time that we're going to see a rush of people back into the club. And
yep.
And just in terms of like my background and how that affects that, I mean, as you know, I'm in management now. I don't have as many clients as usual, but people definitely come in looking for a range of results, right? So It could be flexibility, it could be stress management and getting back into shape after the holidays, or just kind of, they come in looking for hardcore, high intensity type stuff to really kind of burn those calories. So, I mean, we see a range of what people are looking for.
But
please redirect me if I missed the question.
No, actually, that's a really good point. And, to expound on that, also you had mentioned last time you and I talked was about how people can overdo it. And you shared your personal story of how sometimes rest is very important. Can you share that with Dedra? Because I know that was probably something, Dedra, you hadn't heard about when we were chatting about that last time.
Oh, absolutely. So that kind of relates to the metabolic nutrition.
Uh-huh.
As I found more recently, I found science that kind of changed my mind about nutrition. I've always been a nutrition consultant, and of course, having been a trainer for 16 years, you can't go without mentioning nutrition to your clients if you're going to get results. But I found that after teaching hardcore and just kind of running with an empty tank most of the time, for too long, that I ended up hitting a wall. I had no more energy, and everything was starting to fall apart. I started gaining weight, and all kinds of different things started happening. And I kept looking for these different answers, and no one had them. Mm-hmm. And I finally stumbled upon a book by Kate Deering called How to Heal Your Metabolism, that's based on the workings of a lot of people, but it seems like Ray Peat is kind of the grandfather of kind of where all that started. Mm-hmm. And it completely changed my mind, and I've changed my diet to be now metabolically supportive, which actually has to do with burning sugars instead of fats. And what happened was I needed to emphasize a lot more rest than I thought I needed to. And it just, it was dictated by following my pulse and temperature and giving me some insight into my thyroid and how my body was functioning. And in terms of metabolism. So my metabolism had slowed way down, which meant that I was cold. My hands and feet were always cold. And you'll find that a lot of people have the same complaints and they don't understand what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very well said. I'll ask both Dedra and Hannah, have either of y'all heard of this Z Health that Kat has spoken about?
I have not.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, this is all new to me as well. So what's involved with this, Kat? I guess if you could go in, tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so Z Health is somewhat unrelated to the nutrition aspect. Z Health was created. It was created, I want to say in I don't remember exactly the year, but it hasn't been around all that long. Okay. But usually science takes about 20 years to catch up. So I definitely heard about them many years ago, and then having been a lot more of a newer trainer, I would say, I looked into some of what they do, and it's extremely expensive. So I just kind of brushed it off at that time. And then more recently, I've been reintroduced to Z Health, which is, like I said, a brain-based approach to fitness. So it has to do with the nervous system. And so the brain or the nervous system is what manages your entire body. So if you need to make changes in pain or range of motion, strength, coordination, speed, agility, pretty much any physical attribute, the fastest path to getting there is going to be to adjust your nervous system. So in other words, like your brain is running the whole show. And it happens to be the most plastic system of the body. So research has proven that the nervous system can continue to learn and adapt at any age, which means that you can improve your body at any point in your life by focusing on the nervous system. And it is also the fastest system of the body. So your nerves can communicate throughout the body at lightning fast speed. And what that means pretty much is that you can get an instantaneous result. And I'll give you kind of an example. I happened to be trying to promote yesterday in the lobby, and a gentleman came up and he was having some low back issues, and he's been having it now for 15 to 20 years. And It came originally from a car accident, which I think he told me was when he was in high school. So then he said it was gone. He didn't have any problems with it. And then just 15 to 20 years ago, it just came back, and it's been chronic ever since. And I asked him, I said, well, I would bet that at that time when it came back, you were under an intense amount of stress. Is that right? And he said, yes. And he told me he was going to get an MRI on Thursday. And I told him, that's great. And I said, most likely they're going to tell you that you have a bulge disc. And I said, but regardless, whether you do or you don't, there has been plenty of studies that show that, let's say out of 100 people, just to make this easy, because I don't remember the exact numbers, but out of 100 people, 90 of them had a bulge disc. But not all of those people had pain resulting from that bulge disc. So what they concluded was pain does not equal injury, and an injury does not equal pain. But doctors will always look for a correlation. And so I asked him if he would put his things down and just give me a second to show him an exercise. I ended up showing him a visual vestibular drill that took him all of 10 seconds. And I asked him to move and tell me if his pain was still there. And his face went kind of ghostly white. And he's like, well, it seems to be better. And I said, okay, exactly. So what you may find in your MRI Thursday may or may not affect anything that has to do with your pain. What this is coming from is the brain, and you may have injured it in the car accident, but the reason why it came back is because it created a path in your brain that recognized this tragic incident caused me a lot of pain that made me slow down. So years later, that pathway still exists, and now you are under a lot of stress. Your brain knows it needs survival. It needs you to slow down and rest. So it's going to create that pain again because it remembers that you slowed down last time. That's all that's going on. That bulge disc may or may not be there, really has nothing to do with the pain you're experiencing. And so that's kind of a little bit sort of like how it works and what it can do for people instantaneously.
Wow.
Did I ramble on too much?
No, that's great, and again, this all ties together because, Hannah, back to you for a second, please. I'm sure that's nothing new that you don't see as your new clients when they come to you. I would think pain would probably be I'm just making that assumption, one of the top reasons they probably hire you. Is that right?
Absolutely. Everyone is always coming to me with some type of pain. It's more pain than it is, I just need to be a little more free in my movement. Most of the time it is the general population. I rarely get anyone without pain. So
that's why that whole old cliche, no pain, no gain's kind of, not relevant much all the time, is it?
Not
Absolutely. That's what I tell people all the time. I say, no pain, no gain with your workout. But when you're with me, the more pain you have, the less work we can do. We really want to get you to a place of complete pain-free relaxation to make any gains here. So.
No, that's good. And same question to you, Dedra. Let's bounce it over to you for a second. For your classes and when you're doing yoga and when you're working with your clients, how is pain as far as one of the reasons why they come see you? And do you see that they complain about that sometimes before they're working out with you?
Sure, and actually most of my clients complain about low back pain, and so my first question to them, and Kat and you can probably say, yep, Dedra, you're right on it. How strong is your core? That is my number one question when people tell me they have low back pain, aside from do you have any spinal issues, have you had an x-ray? And another thing that I try to focus on is core strength. I do a lot of balance work. I have a class I call Core and Restore, where we specifically do Pilates and ab strengthening exercises so that can help alleviate some of the pain. Also, uneven hips can cause back pain in clients. So I do all. I am my own best patient / instructor, because a lot of what I have gone through in my body is what a lot of my clients actually complain about. And I'm just so excited to even meet Hannah, because I tell anyone, that's my second question. Have you had a massage, and have you had a series of massages? Because we got to loosen these muscles up. And so the fact that Hannah actually does stretch therapy, I think that both of our modalities can complement each other.
Oh, yeah, no question about it. And Kat, back to you for a second. Dedra just brought up the core strengthening, and I know that's a big part of what your background and certifications and with the kettlebell workouts and such, I guess can you kind of segue into that? How important is core working out, and do you see that in your clients as far as they're adherent to strengthening their core?
So I have kind of two answers here. I mean, obviously I have a background in, as a matter of fact, yoga as well as Pilates, kettlebells, Viper. I mean, all kinds of things. But so I believe in core strength for sure. But at this point, I also know exactly how pain works. And I think that if someone's having low back pain, we can't always just say that it's core strength. Chances are they need to strengthen their core, and I believe that every modality has its benefits. So I certainly don't want to discount any practitioner and what they do. The brain-based fitness is more along the lines of when you're not getting the results that you expect or that you should get, then there's perhaps a higher governing factor that's affecting that, such as vision or vestibular, so balance. There's a lot more that could be at work in terms of what is preventing them from reaching their goals.
What's interesting is that whenever I start with a new client who does have issues, if they're coming to me from physical therapy and bridging from rehab to strengthening, almost all the times across the board, their physical therapist always tells me, work on their core. They're always telling me that's, when they first told me that, I was like, oh, that's interesting. That, for example, if they're in a boot or they've got like an ankle problem or tendonitis or plantar fasciitis, you would think, okay, what leg exercise, what ankle stuff, and the therapist always unanimously say, we got to get that core strengthened. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. So lots of planks. How about Hannah? Let's throw it back to you for a second too. Stretch therapy, absolutely important. Flexibility, loosening up the joints, like you mentioned a few minutes ago, getting out of pain, like Kat was saying too. As far as your sessions with your clients, is that something that you find that you work with them in terms of giving them coaching on strength training or maybe referring them to a strength and conditioning specialist?
Absolutely. Given that my original path was physical therapy, anytime I encounter a client who has more pain than I really know within my scope of practice to handle, I will absolutely suggest going to see a physical therapist first. Sometimes if it's more, they have a history of bulging discs or anything with the spine, maybe go see a chiropractor. But typically I'm very aware of the need for other things along with what I can give them. But for the most part, I try to stick within my scope and kind of tell them, look, I can help you find where you're stuck, and I can kind of help you even see where your weaknesses are and kind of assess. I'm able to assess and find out where their weaknesses are, where their strengths are, where they might be overly strengthened that needs to be released. So I can work in those areas. But yes, referring out to PTs, chiros, orthopedic, I do it all the time because this is something you have to do in conjunction with any other therapy or service that the doctors can help with.
Yeah, certainly. And Dedra, let's go full circle here because, we kind of started this conversation up by kickstarting people into their New Year's resolutions. I'm so happy, Dedra, that you had people come to you early for the November-December crowd influx, that they wanted to get their New Year's resolutions pre-New Year's, so to speak. So in your best summation of advice and suggestions for the people who are listening out there, let's say that people are listening who either don't have a personal trainer, aren't taking a yoga class, too scared, don't want to try stretch therapy because they know nothing of it, they don't want to join a gym, they just don't want to work out, and they just want to continue on. What's the best pieces of advice we can give those folks right now if we're listening to them?
Wow.
It's a fully loaded question.
Negative Nannies, huh?
Yeah, I put you on the spot.
Well, that's okay. One thing that I tell anybody is the tighter your muscles are, the older you get, the more prone you're going to be to injury and breakages and falls later in life. And so you have to do something. When I started my fitness journey, I tried everything: aqua Zumba, Pilates, aerobics. I did everything. And so my suggestion would be to get off the couch and do something. Try that variety, because you never know what you're going to fall in love with. And I even tell my students, you will never get everything that you need just by coming to my class. I encourage my students to lift weights. I encourage them to do cardio. I always tell my clients, your heart is the size of your fist. I don't care what size you are, you have got to do something for your heart health. And yoga, while it can help you relax and while it can help with bone strength and immunity, all of that, you still need cardio and weight exercises as well. And restful sleep. Most Americans don't get enough sleep. We're at an all-time high for stress levels, and most of the time we have our phones. Your brain stays awake 2 hours after you finish looking at your phone. So if you don't put down your phone until 11 and it's on full brightness, it's 1 a.m. before your brain thinks, oh, it's not daytime anymore, let's go to sleep. So between electronic devices and the things that we have to distract us, I just always tell everybody, do one thing. You have to change one thing about your life if you want to relax, if you want to feel more rested, if you want to lower your anxiety or even get stronger.
Great answers there, Dedra. And Kat, kind of piggybacking on that, when you hear the excuses, Kat, of clients telling you, oh, just it's too cold to go outside, or it's raining outside, or there's sunshine outside, I can't make it to the gym, or whatever, and I can't eat like that. What's your best suggestions and advice for the folks who just kind of have that barrier and trying to get over that obstacle?
Well, of course, I mean, everyone's individual, and the path of a million miles already starts with the first step. So it's kind of like, I think that was Dedra that was speaking, or just now, but yeah, I mean, you just have to get started. You have to do something, but we have to consider exactly what is holding them back and see if we can address that. But yeah, you got to get started doing something. Let's look at one small thing that we can start implementing now.
Yeah, well said, Kat. I love it. Yeah, and I definitely validate that and agree. And Hannah, you had started out by mentioning that everybody can benefit from some form of stretch therapy or flexibility exercises and massage, and that's this whole total fitness wellness world that we're living in. And you three ladies really did a wonderful job explaining all of this. Now, before we get your guys' contact information, I wanted to throw one more question out there. This 30 minutes has flown by so quickly, and I've had just a wonderful time talking to you and picking your brains. And I really believe, like our friend Max always says, iron sharpens iron. And this has just really been terrific. So let me go back and throw the question. Actually, I'm going to go back to Kat for a second, because apparently, Dina Blair, our friend, is starting a fitness networking group. And I think that, I guess my question to you, Kat, are you joining that? And then secondly, if not, I think that this is a wonderful opportunity of some form of fitness network between us. I mean, what do you think, Kat?
I mean, absolutely. We all need networking, to be able to get things out there, because I realize what I do now is so different and so sort of misunderstood, stupid word, misunderstood, that by creating a network, like, my goal is to help everyone else do better, with what they want to do. So, I certainly can complement a different modality, and so having a network just allows us to make sure that all of our clients are getting exactly what they need to continue to perform at the level they want to.
Yeah, very much agreed. So maybe we could look into that. Whenever Hannah and Dedra, you're in Atlanta, we'll go visit Kat over at Concourse Athletic Club and check it out, because I think both y'all would love that fitness center. It's really nice. Give you the full tour. So this was wonderful, ladies. Last final question. Let's go back in order of Hannah. Can you please provide us your contact information, website, phone number, email, anything you want to get out, social media, please?
Sure. So you can find my website at www.hannaholearystretch.com. I have published that pretty recently, so that's kind of new. I'm proud of that. And then on Instagram, you can find me at StretchGalATL, and I am also on Facebook as well. You can find my business page, Hannah O'Leary Stretch Therapy.
Perfect. And then Dedra, let's bring it over to you. Same question, please. How can people find you?
Sure. My website is dstress101.com. You can also find me there on Instagram and Facebook under the same name. And I'm so excited. Now I'm on the Mind Body app. Yay. And so that gives people an easy way to get in touch with me and also sign up for classes. I do want to mention I have a low back, or not just a low back, I have a Relax Your Back clinic coming up on January 21st. And that's going to be taught by me as well as a licensed massage therapist that I used to work with. And we're excited about that. It's the day off. It's MLK Day. So hopefully a lot of people will be off and they can come to that at 5:30 in the evening. And you can register for that as well on the Mind Body app. My phone number, 320-746-7365.
Perfect. And then last but certainly not least, Kat, let's get your contact info, please.
Sure, and thanks for doing this, Taryn. So Catherine Luciano, you can reach me at cluciano@wellbridge.com. And we are going to be doing a program as well for, it's called 3 Pillars. It's going to address vision, vestibular, and movement for people to awaken their inner athlete. There's a launch party February 12th at 12 p.m. And we would love to see anyone that's listening to come out and find out more about it.
Perfect. All right, ladies. Well, very good. Again, thank you so much to all three of you. Y'all are just wonderful and amazing. And this truly was a meeting of the minds, that's for sure. So I can't wait to have each of you all back on for another future video blog. This was a lot of fun. So we'll go ahead and put the contact info on the screen for anybody that's watching one more time for these three ladies. And you all have a wonderful rest of your 2019. Hannah, Dedra, Kat, thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.